Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining us. I got two awesome guests with us today to share with you. First, we have Mr. Sam Grey. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on, everyone?
And then next, we have Mr. Gio Lopez.
What's up, everyone?
Awesome. So we're in Atlanta for our team huddle, everyone, and we've got a lot of agents in. It's going to be a great day of training, but wanted to take a couple minutes just to kind of share these guys' stories in the insurance business with Family First Life, and their success and some tips for new and current agents. So let's start off with Sam. Kind of give everybody a little bit of your background, how you got introduced to insurance.
Yeah, I've been in the insurance industry about 5 years, specifically with FFL for probably 2.5. And yeah, I've originally got in doing P&C primarily, so auto and home insurance. People don't know what that is. I got my foot in the door. It was captive agency, and learned pretty quickly that that's not necessarily the route to go if you want to be long term and owning your own book and creating your own kind of path and ownership and things like that. But it was a great start. I'm no regrets ever, because it got me to where I am now.
Yeah,
made introductions to people that I know now. So, but working at FFL, it's been great. Just it's the best deal out there. And sometimes you have to go through different things, different experiences to know that for sure. So, yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good point. And Gio, introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, man. So I've been doing insurance for about going on 4 years now. Actually cannot believe it, but never thought I would ever do insurance. Thanks to Jermaine, here we are. And so I was flipping houses and, not necessarily having huge success in that, and really just to make ends meet, I was driving for Uber and doing Lyft. Kind of like the same thing.
I know that story.
Yeah. And, man, that's where we come from.
Perfect. And, when you look at getting started in the business, a lot of people, question, hey, can I have success? Is this, really difficult? Will it work for me? Is that number one question. So did you guys, when you were getting started, I know you had prior experience, Sam. Gio, you had no prior experience, so your answers may be different or it could be the same. But did you have that same kind of self-doubt, like, hey, will this work? I'm going to give it a shot and see? Or were you like 100% confident, like, yep, this is going to be easy? What was that for you? Gio, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, no, definitely doubt. 100% fear, lots of fear. And it really is just the fear of the unknown, just because you just don't know how things are going to go, right? And I was talking to Jose Greg Sirena yesterday, and we were talking about, immigrant family. We come here to make things happen one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And so we already come with a mentality of working hard, and we do different things. I mean, I started at McDonald's, cleaning houses, you name it, right? But as you grow personally and you get into corporate America, you kind of like get locked into that mindset of just a regular Monday through Friday, mundane, 8 to 5 type of deal, right? And you kind of forget the reasons that we came here. And in the midst of all that, refining and refocusing, retargeting, making sure that we're heading in the right direction is when this opportunity came around. Yeah. And so I say that because the fear that I had was to, again, deviate from the mundane 9 to 5. Am I doing the right thing? Is this really what I want to do? Is this really going to give me the kind of success, right, that Sam is talking about? And so I feel that is normal, but you definitely have to overcome it. Yeah. And it may take a little while, as you know, for me, it took a long time, and again, one more time, thank you, Jermaine, for not giving up on me, man, because it did take me a while. Just not following the system at the beginning, not doing what I was supposed to do. But aside from being stubborn, I was definitely fearful.
Yeah.
Definitely fearful, not knowing that this was going to work for me.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. How about you, Sam? Were you gung-ho out the gate, or like, this is different?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times self-doubt's everyone's worst enemy, primarily in an industry like this where it is up to you to make it happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of people come from different experiences similar to this, maybe opposite, but usually you're making a change because things have not gone the way that you wanted them to go.
Yeah.
So you come into it being like, this might be the same thing, like self-doubt, and you just got the only recipe to get out of that is just put in the work and then learn from people that have done it, and then just to kind of give yourself a certain amount of time and give yourself cut yourself a break to be able to just take time and figure this thing out, because it does take some figuring it out. It's simple, but just like anything, it is a skill that you have to learn. And just give yourself some time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, once you get started, or I'll preface it this way, you always remember your first appointment. And so, do y'all remember your first appointment, your first family that you protected, what that felt like, or even the first time that deposit hit the account? Sam, you remember?
Oh, totally. No, actually, my first week doing this, I was running like Final Expense, like Facebook leads, and it was a great first week. I think I actually sold the first appointment I went on. I really had no idea what I was doing. And then, but that's typical of things. You get some like beginner like success, and thank God for that, because it keeps you motivated. But then that was interesting. So I'm like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
This is just too easy. And then, you get a couple bad weeks because you're like, you take that same mentality of it being too easy and you don't put in the work. And then, wow, this thing actually takes some work.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Gio?
I do remember it, yeah. In fact, I remember the first time that I was dialing, talking about the fear and all that. It took me so long to get started. I totally I was overthinking everything. I wasn't sure if I was prepared, wasn't sure if I was going to say the same thing. I was picturing all these different scenarios, right, on how it was going to go. But that first appointment, it was pretty simple because this couple were looking for life insurance, older couple. And at that point, they were pretty healthy. Helped them out with 2 American policies. And I was telling them, I'm like, hey, listen, you guys, you guys are my first client. So you guys are very special, right? We kept in contact for a while. She referred me to her son. But unfortunately, a year later, they canceled the policy. And so I went out and I tried to save the policy, and the guy had developed some kidney issues.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was doing really bad. And so it was sad, but yeah, most definitely remember that first family that we helped. Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. So when you look at, you get going, you're helping families, and like you said, Sam, it's like, all right, you get that beginner's luck, I guess is what it's called, and you're like, oh man, this is super easy, and then you kind of slack off, and you got to actually train and work. So how important, because I think, there are several industries like doctors and lawyers that you have continuing education, or, athletes where you have to continue to improve. How important is that, applying yourself and continuing to stay at the top of your game? How important is that to this business? We'll start with you, Sam.
Yeah, I think just being consistent is like the number one word that comes to mind with that. Consistent in like all different categories. If you start slacking off in one or the other, you start to take steps backwards. And I mean, I'm saying that because I know that, but that is a constant struggle for me. It's just being consistent in the training and making sure that you're plugging in, because stuff changes.
Yep.
I mean, we're dealing with that right now, where certain lead strategies, you think like, man, this is working great. Guess what? A couple months, things change a little bit. You got to be able to adapt, and got to be able to know how and where to adapt to. So you're not constantly trying to play catch up, but you're ahead of the curve. And I'm speaking to myself when I say that. So
it's preaching to the choir, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Gio?
The number one thing that I learned, and it hit me hard, and I had to learn it the hard way, it's not having a know-it-all mentality. Knowing that there's so many people that you can reach out to. And again, it was another thing that kept me from growing, right? Having just an egotistic thought process that I got it, I can figure it out on my own, not reaching out to you in this case, not reaching out to Mike Killamet and all the other top producers. It actually took me a while. So that I think is a really big key, the fact that you can have, and you don't necessarily need to relate to the person that is helping you directly, but you have a bunch of people that you can reach out to. And I think that that's an overlooked tool that we have here, because the amount of people that don't necessarily take care of that, it's crazy. And I understand, because corporate America, other, industries and stuff like that, the people that are having success, they're kind of like very standoffish, right? Like, hey, this is a secret. We can't necessarily tell you how we're making things happen here. But here in FFL, it's totally different.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one thing that I will highly, highly recommend for anyone that is just getting started. Have an open mind, be willing, just like Sam said, be willing to learn, be willing to change, be willing to innovate. And although we've been doing this for a while, and I say it all the time on live dials, right? I mean, we've worked hard to get to where we are. Mm-hmm. And, we think that, for example, in my case, I think that I have a good script, right? But it's taking so long to get to that point. Yeah. But if I hear you, on today, and I hear Sam that I don't necessarily get a chance to listen to, too often. If you're saying something and I know that you're killing it and I know that it's working for you, you better believe I'm using that the next time on the phone. Yeah. So
being coachable and duplicatable and, case and everything, we call it copy and steal everything as far as information. Mm-hmm. So good. And now both of you are considered top producers. You have months where you've helped 30-plus families, 40-plus families in certain months. What would you say are the some of the separation factors when it comes to someone who is a top producer helping 30, 40 families a month versus somebody that's helping 5 to 10 and they might want to change, maybe not knowing what to do or how to do or what it takes to get there? What would you say are some of the differentiating factors that they need to implement? Sam?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple things. I think the common thread when it comes to producing at a high volume and helping a lot of families would be number of appointments. I think if you ask anyone, it's all, if you look at someone's schedule versus someone who's helping 10 families versus 30, there's going to be an appointment gap. That's just the way it is. There is some skill difference. If you do this thing longer, you can definitely get better on less appointments, but that is number one key. The second key is getting out of your own backyard. I think that's key to level up in this business, is doing some travel trips. I mean, you don't have to do one every weekend. There's some guys that do. If you have a family and stuff, like, there's no excuses for me. I'm single, so I should be doing it every week. But I think implementing travel trips, and if you have any questions on that, there is a way to do it that I think is a good way. I've been doing a lot of them, so reach out. But that's another ability, just to double your production by doing a couple of those a month.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Gio?
I could not agree anymore with Sam. It's number of appointments for sure. And once you make that decision that you're going to go from, 5, 6, 10 appointments even, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you could actually have a good week. You can have a decent week if you're following the system and, have a structure in home and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, if you're looking to scale and, get to that point of 30, 40 families per month helped, it's number of appointments for sure. But there is a lot of factors that come to that. It's not necessarily just, sitting down and say, hey, I'm going to book 30 appointments. It's schedule. Mm-hmm. It's leads, number of leads. It's training for sure. Because, I mean, in order for you to get to that point and schedule that many appointments, again, I mean, you have to get to a point where you are very assumptive, very intentional about your phone calls, very intentional about your schedule, and very intentional about getting leads too. So that, again, for me, if we're talking to that new person that is getting started, it was hard, and it took me a long time to understand. And honestly, it wasn't a good period of time, in the process of understanding all that and making sure that that's what's going to take if you want to help 30 to 40 families per month. It was a long time for me. So it really depends on you and that new person, like how long it's going to take you to do that. I like to say that because every mistake that I've made, I want to make sure that so you don't duplicate it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And speaking of that, a lot of time we share our successes, and we should, because people need to see what success looks like so they know what to duplicate and they know that it's possible. But often enough, we don't share our failures often enough. I don't know if you guys can recall any of the failures or challenges that you've had along the way that you can share and how you came them. Gio, anything comes to mind?
For me was mindset and schedule and budgeting, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, there were a lot, and even till now, it's hard talking about it, right? But we're in a field that we want to make sure that we share this with you guys, because if we want to grow as a team, you have to know this, and these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind. That's gonna take a lot of work in these certain areas in order to grow. So, mindset. I had, although I knew I wanted to have my own business, but I had, again, and I wanted to do it all kind of mentality, right? So, and I'm still growing on that aspect, and Jermaine, Jermaine knows. That as far as mindset, scheduling, I had the I'm a business owner mentality. Again, I can do whatever I want. I didn't have schedule. I was getting up at like 9, 10. Getting on the phones 11, 12, but then I had to have lunch, and then so I'll start afterwards. So I mean, a total mess. And then budgeting, to be honest with you, it was more of investing in leads. That was my, between the three, mindset and budgeting. Investing in leads was probably the two biggest ones for me, because understanding that you have to invest money to make money, but it was now my money, because I was investing in properties before, but it wasn't my money. So I was okay with investing other people's money.
Yeah.
But when it comes to investing your own money, I had a big issue.
That's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. Totally different story, yes. But how I overcame all those, Jermaine, it's one simple concept, really, just following the system and plug in. And I know that it sounds cliche and it sounds like, hey, you're just doing a podcast and you're just saying this because you're in front of the camera. But no, it's not. It's really literally submersing yourself in this system, and what we're talking about, allow yourself to be coachable, allow yourself to change. So
Good. How about you?
Yeah, well, I got a story for you. Going back to the travel trips, they'll help tremendously, but if you're starting out, be prepared for things not to go as planned.
Yeah.
I used to live out in Oregon, and my brother was stationed in Hawaii, and good excuse to go to Hawaii. Did a couple of travel trips out there. Well, the first one, this is the first time I talked to Jermaine, too, was after one of these bad experiences. Thankfully, I was in Hawaii, and my brother was there, so I was able to have some fun and whatnot. But, the first one, this happens, and unfortunately happens, I think, to new people that are new, just because you don't know what you're doing. So all the bad stuff can happen at the beginning. It doesn't happen as much anymore because I kind of a little bit know more about what I'm doing. But first travel trip, went out there. By the time I got home, I also had pushed dates out for clients and stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, what do you know, 3/4 of it was gone by the time I got home, which was a fluke. That doesn't usually happen, but it happened.
Chargeback, you mean?
Chargebacks, yeah. When I had pushed the dates out, so it was just you're asking for that to happen. Then the second one, there was a big storm in Texas. That's when the mailers were coming out of. So mail got pushed back 2 weeks. I had the flight. I had everything booked. And I go out to Hawaii, and none of my leads have come in yet. So, and then by the time I get back, then all the leads started coming in. So I tried to do it remotely, but things just didn't go as planned. And I called Jermaine, and obviously I'm at my wit's end with the whole thing. But I think those things do come about that challenge you. And it's what are you going to do when that kind of thing happens? Are you going to quit? Or are you going to just keep pressing forward and know that this has worked for thousands of people? Mm-hmm. Thousands of people make a lot of money in this industry, just in our company.
Mm-hmm.
So just stay the course and ask people like myself, hey, what are some stories like I'm telling you now? And we can all relate to everything. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, no, that's real good. And you'll have those failures. And I think I watched a video one time. Will Smith was talking about, you probably could Google this, but or YouTube it, but he was just talking about, just failure and how that's the way to success. And the reason why most people aren't successful is because they're so afraid of failure and they're unwilling to actually fail in order to succeed. And I think about my son. He's learning to walk, and the amount of times he's fell on his knees, his butt, and he just keeps getting up and keep going. And what if he just said, man, this is too hard, I'm going to stop. He'll never learn to walk. And now he's starting to take 4 or 5 steps, and he's the happiest kid ever. So wait till he starts actually walking, and he'll just feel so grateful, and he'll forget about all the times that he fell. And I think, because we're adults, we'll remember the failures we've had, but you'll be so grateful for being in a position where you're more successful after you've failed your way through this, and just embracing that process. And we'll end on this. I think gratitude is so important in this business and in life in general, but specifically for this business. As you think about what you're grateful for, having this opportunity, just from each of your perspective, I'd love to hear that. And I had a refresher. I was born in Jamaica. We just went for my 16th wedding anniversary. It's always good to be back home, because Jamaica is, in still some cases, considered a third world country. That they have access to a lot of things, technology. There's still some places that don't have warm water. And we went to my brother-in-law's house. I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the resort. But it's just a reminder that what we have to be grateful for it, and be appreciative of the opportunity. That saying that, hey, we get to do this. We don't have to do this. This is a privilege. So as you guys think about that concept, how does that relate to you and what you feel about your businesses, Sam?
Yeah, I grew up in a family of all business owners, and I know the sacrifice it takes. I know how much work they put in for how much reward. And honestly, this is by far, as far as what my dad had to go through in business, this is a lot easier walk, and I'm very grateful for that. It's a big responsibility as well, because you take it for granted, and you make, man, this life, it's easy and stuff, and things are good. I mean, I think constantly, and also finding, for me, this is a little bit off topic a little bit, but finding ways to kind of give back even outside of this business is key. Me and Gio were talking about that, just being involved in different things in your community and stuff, and being able to help kids, even if it's not in business, even not recruiting people or stuff. You're giving back, and you're able to take what God's blessed you with, and be able to pour into others that are a little bit less fortunate in that sense. So.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense, man. Gio?
Yeah, man. It's a very, very important topic for me, because kind of like the same thing with you, coming from a third world country and stuff like that. Super grateful. I am in the best, you can say, financially, spiritually, best position I've ever been. And it's because of this industry, this business right here. So, again, Jermaine, thank you for sharing this opportunity with me, man. Thank you to Family First Life, for putting this simple system, like Sam is saying. And yeah, you're right. We do take it for granted. We get caught up on numbers, honestly, sometimes. And it's important to keep, your feet grounded, and remember where you came from, because it's very, very easy to get caught up on those numbers. But at the same time, too, with us, and we recommend that as well, understanding that those numbers can change in a matter of a day, and never really get too caught up on what happened last week, right, for us, or even just the day before. For us, every single day is a new day, and just an opportunity. The way that I like to put it is just an opportunity to help more people. To help more families, whether it be, making sure that our family is protected, when a loved one dies, or sharing this opportunity with someone that was looking, just like each one of us, right, that is looking to change their financial future. So I'm super, super grateful, man. It's a life-changing opportunity for me, just solely from the fact that we get to do this, we get to see people, we get to help families. But in my case, very specifically, just being able and having the opportunity to give back to our church, having the opportunity, to have my wife home with our babies, and not necessarily make decisions, based on a dollar bill.
Makes sense.
It's a huge blessing, man, and I'm super, super thankful for that.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful for it too, and that's one of the great things about this industry. If you work hard, you have a good system like Family First Life, you're able to create the life you want, and that's what independence, financially, freedom is truly all about, being able to create the life that you want. So, if you guys, watching this, you're not with Family First Life, you should be working with us. And how would they get in touch with you, Sam, if they wanted to work with you? If they say, "Man, that guy looks like Thor, I want to work with him."
I just watched the new Thor, not quite, but yeah, you can just hit me up on my cell, 503-851-5103.
Perfect. And Gio, if they want to work with you?
Yes, so if you want to work with a short Spanish guy with glasses.
The Ecuadorian stallion. Ecuadorian stallion.
It's 954-806-4657. And you can hit me up on social media. My Instagram is Gio Lopez 2010.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for sharing. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.